You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass Marni Battista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself, the dating and relationship edition with Chris Gillis. Things that make a man fall deeply in love.
Ladies, welcome. You know, you've been asking for it. You've been writing us about it. You've been dreaming of it. We're back. Chris Gillis likes to be dreamt about. Exactly. For those of you who've been listening for years, you know that for many years, Chris Gillis and I and his special someone, Dr. Emily, would get together and talk about reality shows and dating. And we put that on hiatus because, well, I thought I might poke my eyeballs out with a fork if I had to talk about reality shows and dating ever again. And then Chris and I decided to get together because he is doing some really amazing work coaching men. So many of you were like, men never do this work. Where are all the men who do the work? And now Chris is doing the work with the guys. And I was like, let's get back together and we'll do a show. We'll talk about dating, but we're not going to talk about reality TV unless we absolutely have to. So let me tell you, if you haven't heard of Chris, he's a professional dating coach. He's based in LA. He offers his expert guidance in tackling the complexities of modern dating. He has super fun content on Instagram. So follow him there, Consultant Chris. His expertise encompasses a broad spectrum of relationship challenges, the nuances of app-based dates, how to get over a breakup, divorce, how to build self-love. And his approach is centered on helping individuals not only embrace their unique qualities, but how to showcase those qualities to increase their confidence and create the inner game needed to attract their ideal partners. And so we are going, and Chris came on the show and he's like, do you want me to drive? And at first I was like, no. And then I was like, okay. So with that, I'm going to turn the keys of this Bentley over to Mr. Chris Gillis. You should do the applause.
Wait.
Also, you need a bigger crowd in your applause audience.
It's I can't hear it on my end. It's like two people.
It's like four people at a bad improv show.
That's amazing. Welcome,
okay, go ahead.
Welcome, everybody, and welcome back to some of the OG listeners. And I'm really excited to be here with the woman. I know I'm the eldest, but I always wanted a sister, and Marni is like my sister. She has been my buddy. We've known each other through so many iterations. So the things, the knowledge, the lessons that we've learned along the way that we're excited to share with you guys, we have climbed the tree and hit our head on every branch on the way down. And we're here to teach you guys how to get up there. Yes, a little bit quicker and more efficient. And I'm really stoked, to get the band back together, Marn. Holy moly. And
the band.
It is.
For Lennon and McCartney.
Not to talk about too much, maybe a little bit of reality TV, not too much, because I do live in Venice.
Just a
scotch, yeah. And they're all running around every year. Everybody's, influencing and doing what they can. And so you can't swing a dead cat without hitting Ex-Bachelor or Love Island. Ooh, that's what's funny.
Love is Blind. It seems like it's always on.
It is. By the way, here I am again. They're choosing better looking people. They're not really.
Oh,
I think
100%.
God damn it. They just can't. No, they can't do what they're
supposed to.
The
whole Love is Blind thing is now like completely a joke because everyone is attractive. So
100%.
That is, but also it still shows it's not enough because at least in the UK version, they were all really attractive and only like one person, I think, or two got married. So,
Yep. U.S. version just came out. I saw it, yesterday while I was scrolling through Netflix. And sure enough, like, these aren't the average people in Oklahoma, Nebraska, Oregon, where I'm from. No, these are
the only thing that's great about it is there are women that are, and men that are in their mid and late 30s, which I think is great and interesting, other than 20-year-olds. But we also have Bachelorette Golden on right now. We have that happening. So anyway, I'm going to let you drive.
So
my hands are off the dashboard.
Yeah, right, Marni. I put her in the trunk and she somehow, she'll climb back up and touch the steering wheel. This is good for everybody. So listeners, the format of this is going to be really fun. It's going to be different than last time. Instead of us just kind of hopping from faux celebrity to faux celebrity, there's going to be some regular formats that you guys can look forward to. There's going to be a lot of recurring segments, and then some, even viewer, listener questions as well that you guys can ask. And then we'll circle back on the following week just to keep it up and poignant on all the new and hair-pulling, mind-blowing, modern dating trends, frustrations, things that are really going down in our worlds and make you wonder. But what I'm stoked, and for the guy listeners out here, because I've got quite a few, Marni said I'm a men's dating coach. Guys, listen to this woman. She is brilliant, and she's ballsy, and she will shoot you and kick you straight in the nuts when you need to hear it. And she's been she's worn all those hats, and she is a amazing, loyal, married woman now, and mother of 3 gorgeous, successful daughters. She has been a player. She has done her thing.
I tried to be a player. It was hard.
She tried. Yeah, I was lucky to try to coach her into that realm. She wore the kick-ass high heel biker boot. You did pretty good. Yeah,
I did pretty well. I did do pretty well in that, and it was a brief stint, but I did do it. I had to sew my wild oats because I didn't sew them in my 20s because I got married the first time at 22. So I had to do it. I think everyone does.
Facebook just popped a picture of you up when you were in the middle of those sewing oats, and you could see that energy.
Oh my God,
in
you have to send me that photo.
It's pretty fucking cool. It's pretty bitchin'. Like, whoa. So guys, listen up and also ask me, or if you want to ask questions that you are nervous about asking, maybe a gal that you're interested in, or even your gal pals, shoot it this way. And Marni will be a straight shooter and let you know what's going on. So so before we begin, speaking of what's going on, you're out in beautiful Steamboat. What is going out? Any new updates in your coaching relationship? Any new ahas that kind of
a couple of really interesting things. Well, first of all, I mean, just in my life in general, like my book that's being published by Hay House is coming out February 5th. So I just booked my tickets to travel to New York to record. Thank you. I think it was a bigger audience. It's just new. To record my audiobook. So I'm going to be reading the audiobook. So I'm super excited about that. And have some endorsements from some really great people who are putting their praise on the book cover and inside of the book. So that's super exciting. And then I think the other thing that's been really interesting is this idea of, I've been with Jeremy for like 15 years. We've gone from spending 24/7 together, living in 400 square feet in an RV, to like 3 years later, living in a little bit more spaciousness. He works really early in the morning. He comes home in the afternoon. So he's like tired pretty early. And it's just been really an interesting change of dynamic of like having to make so much more of an effort to spend time together because, he's tired when he comes home. I'm working. We're both like wanting to catch up with like kids and friends. And now we have the social life here. So whenever there's free time, we're like hanging out with our friends or doing social things. And so that's been really interesting is like, how do we create date nights and time together? So I was inspired by my daughter, Willow, who was talking with her sister about what did they do for date night. And I was like, first of all, they're in their mid-20s. How amazing. They've been in these long-term relationships. And so I had a little surprise for Jeremy this weekend. I ordered this date night kit thing where you make a candle. It's like a candle making activity, and then you have to let it dry and whatever, and then you can paint it. So I'm going to do a really cheesy surprise date night where I'm going to make some dinner. We're going to make the candle. And so I want to get on my date night game.
I love it. And then afterwards, can you melt the wax and dip it on his chest and kind of take it to the next level?
No, is my thing. It's also It's very messy. I'm way too OCD. I like my sheets way too much for that.
That's true. And
So this will just be like, it'll be cute. We could put it in our bedroom, but we have a really nice jacuzzi tub in our bathroom. We could light it and do some romance there.
I love that. And the lesson, I don't know if it's loud and clear to you, but it's loud and clear to me, because as a former / current, person who had codependent tendencies, I too have been kicked in the nuts by life of the cost of making myself too available to women who absolutely adore me, and therefore reducing my inherent value, right? If there's there's avocados everywhere and you're stepping on them, you're not gonna love the avocado so much as when they're, and you really want one, they're $5. I guess I'm getting a $5 avocado. And I also am doing this work because, believe it or not, Marni, men are sometimes a difficult lot to get to react into. They need coaching. They want coaching. They're so stoked once they do it, but getting them to jump in the pool. So I've been, busting my ass and working more ever than I probably ever have before, but I love it. And just like Jeremy, and I can already see some of the gratitude and the little, candle night style efforts by my woman on her end. And it makes me more grateful and happy to be there. And I feel better about myself. And I know your husband's literally out there doing physical work, and he's coming home all sweaty and getting calloused hands, and how sexy that is to everybody. So it's ironic, right? In some ways, less can almost be more when intentionally, when you guys do reconnect, to be really so incredibly mindful like you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Because otherwise we'll just sit down and watch TV, and then he'll pass out. That'll be the end of the night. I mean, we love doing that together, but it's definitely not enough. And so, so I just noticed that it's like, be careful what you wish for, and so we got, and then even being in a bigger physical space, I can go watch my show, he can go watch his show, because let's just be honest, we all have stuff we watch on our own. And then you're like, and I also got back into football. And so there's a lot of football on TV. So I also need to make sure that I'm not ignoring him because of football. Am I such a dude right now?
No, not at all. No, I just wanted to point out for the people who are seeing you for the first time and don't know you, the guys are going to see this clip, and gals, by the way. I do have a lot of gal followers. For some reason, they follow me more than the dudes. Gals, this is your lady. Hopefully, I'm putting it the right way. Whichever, we'll see how it sets up. She's got the answer. She's the OG mama. She knows. She's living the life that most likely. If you want a meaningful relationship, hit her up. We'll have her information on here. And if you have any questions about her, hit me up, and I will straight up tell you everything about her. We have been friends for close to almost 20 years now, I want to say, which...
Damn!
I know.
God, that is insane. Yeah, your beard wasn't gray when I met you.
No, it was not gray. No. You know what? We call it blonde. I like to, blonde is sexy. I dye it blonde. I have some blonde in there. Everybody wants blonde. No,
that's so great. That's so good. I love it. I have a new website too, so it's marnibattista.com. You can't forget it now.
No. What was it? Before, it doesn't matter. Same style, same gorgeous site as you had before?
It's better.
Okay. Good night. You are...
Everybody look at it.
Yeah. But okay, so what I want to say is, if anybody's watching, like, oh, well, Marni's probably, married to this, he can't be that. No, Marni's husband is a stud. He is my good friend. He is sexy. He is young. He is ripped.
He's 50
British.
now.
He's fit. I cannot believe he's 50. Guys, he looks better than you naked. I'm just telling you out there. He is a stud. He looks better than me for sure. So just the fact that the gals, and Marni attracts high value people, and she knows how to help that happen, and she knows how to nurture. And I think it's safe to say you do bring out the best in him through your own vulnerability and expression and courage. I know it hasn't always been an easy ride, but I'm really excited. I'm really proud of you guys.
Oh, thanks, Chris Gillis. Okay, enough about me.
Okay, yeah, like
And that's not me.
I told you. You're like
You're watching me
got-
on YouTube. You could just see I did the like hair flip.
Yeah,
I want to be an influencer.
you are. I know. I told you it's hard to sit in the passenger seat, and you're like, okay, let me do that. So, any big? So for my, what have I kind of had aha moments about? I'm just learning that men this isn't something anybody, not dating, I don't know, it's wild. Guys will spend money for if they don't know how to hit a golf ball, they'll hire a coach for that sort of thing. But when it's kind of interesting to me to learn about how to approach men and discuss this without them feeling or triggering any things of shame. So that's been my biggest takeaway.
Interesting.
If you notice my videos that I'm posting now, I'm not looking directly into the camera anymore. I was told that's like intimidating. And I think you've known me for a long time. Marni, we didn't say this, but I'm like, yeah, I do all those things, but I am a nerd. I was that guy in high school that was always doing my best to find a table to sit at. And there were high schools where I sat by myself, and it was really freaking pathetic. And I was super, super depressed. And I was covered in, cystic acne, and my nose didn't fit my face, and I was 40 pounds skinnier, and it was tough. So I definitely had low value. But I think, my biggest thing is letting people know that, hey, I am you. I just learned every day I wake up and I build up this confidence that people see. I think a lot of guys assume that, you're just born with confidence or not. And I'm having to, dude, I feel nervous. I feel insecure all the time. But every morning I wake up and I journal and I write and I do my
write in your little
statement.
journal. His writing, guys, is literally like, it looks like that Beautiful Minds guy where it's like you can't read it.
No,
but I think it's a really important thing because, and I talk to women too, who are afraid to claim that they want something more in their second act of their life. And there is no magical trick. Like, it's not like any one person has this oh yeah, I did this one thing and then 3 days later I was forever changed and always confident. Like, every person has their humanity and it is built. Someone asked me the other day, we were doing a full day coaching session, and she was like, I know all the information, but how do I really rewire my brain? And I was like, repetitive action. It takes 21 days to start to really have your neural pathways fire in a new way over and over and over again. And nobody listening, men or women, would go to the gym for 2 days and be like, oh, it didn't work. I'm not, I don't have freaking amazing arms. Yeah. And your mindset and your confidence is the same way. It's like daily repetition. It's accountability. It is a structure and a process and a way to get there. It is really not focusing as much always on how you're going to get the result, but who you are being in getting the result. And having someone to call you out along the way in a loving way with some strategy. And so it's like whatever you're applying, whether it's golf or dating or career or whatever it is. And so I think that's a really important point and an awesome thing to remind people is like you're waking up every morning and you're firing those new neurons and you're journaling and you're working on your mindset. And I think we all need that reminder.
Marni, that brings up an amazing point about modern day dating, which is we spend, basically speaking of me, I'm trying to generate leads. I think, especially with online apps, we end up in a lead generation. We get stuck in lead generations. How many can I collect? And the truth is they all kind of look the same. Dudes, ladies, you can't tell much about us by a photo versus the selection. And it's so easy to get caught up in just one, always looking for something different. What are your thoughts? Is that something that you experience with your gals? And what advice can you give to the gals, not so much the guys? We are generally in that queue of 1,000 other dudes waiting a stack of resumes.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I think a couple things. One is that I think that when there's two types, right? There's the women who shop but never buy.
Yeah.
Right? They're liking, they're like starting conversations. I hear so many times like, oh, I was so busy. I couldn't answer.
Yeah.
Like on Friday I did this, and then Saturday I went to play golf with my friends, and then Saturday night I had a bridal shower for my friend's daughter, and then Sunday and they're like, and then Monday they write back and the guy doesn't answer, and they're like, oh, well, I was too busy, and I think that's just bullshit. I just think that's an unconscious way to sabotage. And then the other type is the person who, will stay up all night texting someone they don't even know. They get over invested in the idea of who someone is, or having their own little Love is Blind, right? And then they're like, I don't know why he's not asking me out, and they're just texting for days and weeks, and and so I think that you need to be somewhat transactional at the beginning. It's like, I just am like casting a wide net. I just want to make it smaller and smaller. And so I actually teach my clients, when I help them with dating, to actually go fishing. I think the old way, or the common way, is women go online and they just wait to see who reaches out to them because they feel like it's masculine or not appropriate to reach out to men. But meanwhile, and you can tell me from your point of view, men don't usually have women reaching out to them. So when someone does, they're like, oh, yes, I'd love to get on the phone with you, right? I'd love to chat about if we're a match. So when you are doing the fishing, you have way more opportunities, and men have a very small inbox, right? So they're like, oh my gosh. So I would just encourage women to remember it's not about masculine or feminine really at the beginning. It's about efficiency. It's about getting to the point where you're actually having a conversation. Once you're on the phone, once you're on a date, yes, masculine, feminine, polarity, all that stuff. But until then, it's just like a transaction, and you just want to see if it can get to the next level.
Yeah. I love to use the fishing analogy and metaphor, because I love that. For dating. So what are the ways that so this is for the guys listening, sometimes the guys get disrupted. It throws them off when a woman, it's like that old, was it Woody Allen is like, I don't want to be any part of any club that'll accept me.
Yeah, that would have me.
Guys are like, wait, I'm supposed to reach out and have to annoy them and tug on them a million times to get them to go out, to date with me. So what are some of the ways for the guys listening that you teach your gals to be the fisherman person, to go after them in ways that are not neither masculine or feminine, but are just letting themselves show that there's a possible interest here. Let's pursue that without frightening and scaring off the fish.
Yeah, because let's just say that we're in a real place, back when you and I were hanging out, right? We'd go out to, what was that place on Wilshire?
Q's?
Q's, right? And you'd go out there and you would you'd smile at someone, or you'd make, eye contact or whatever. So online, it's the same, right? If I was back in the day, right? Like if I walked in there, in order to let someone know I'm interested, I have to look at them, right? And I have to make it really clear that, I think you're handsome or attractive or whatever. So for guys, if someone is writing you, and I coach my women really simple, like, hey, Bob, I hope you're having a great week. I'd love to have coffee or have a drink this week. Here's, what do you say or whatever. And then that's an invitation, right? Follow it up. And so it just means someone's smiling at you, right? They're just saying, look, should we just find out if we're compatible? And so the way that I coach women to do it is they go, yeah, sure. That'd be great. Good. Here's my number, or let's make a plan to talk on the phone, FaceTime, whatever you want to do for 10 minutes and make sure it's a fit, and we can talk about the details. Just do it. I
love that.
10 minutes of your life. You know what I mean? And if you're not interested, then here's the other thing. But so what? people are like, oh, I don't know what they're feeling. Feel so bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, he's a grown ass man.
Yeah.
He might feel sad. He might be disappointed, but also like, this is what it is. It's sorting. It's a sorting game. The apps are a sorting game.
Yes. I love that. And that's worth rewinding back. Guys, in case you missed it, regardless of how many dates you get on, after you start playing the game more, you can play looser. So it makes sense that if this is your first at bat, you're shaking, you're like, I'm going to got one pitch and I have to hit it, and you're stressing yourself out. Dude, what's going to happen when you're stressed out? You're tight, you're going to miss the ball, you're going to whiff, whatnot. And Marni, she's always been preaching this from years ago since I've known her, is that, hey, is to really remember that this is a game. It has fun. We don't need to overinvest. Dude, it's a cup of coffee. It's 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, not more, not less. If nothing, it should always end in something positive, or at least either, even the guy's the biggest turd, the girl's the biggest turd. You're like, okay, well, now I know, what to look for. Or maybe this isn't a match. You go, okay, well, cool. I learned something else about myself, or I made a friend who maybe most likely does have other friends or whatnot. But yeah, we put so much stake on it. I think because we are oftentimes is so glued to that collection process. And that's what the apps are. They want to keep us on there. It's a gambling app, gives us quick little dopamine hits. They don't want us actually getting off and going on dates and not using the apps, because it wouldn't work on there. So yeah, I really loved it and felt like it was important to circle back to there. The guys, it's it's not everything. And you said something really powerful, is, by the way, Marni, it's not just the girls who are texting way too much. As a matter of fact, I just did a post about this yesterday. It's the dudes. So again, it goes back to the guys are like, well, I need to make so incredibly sure. So they will spend 2 hours texting and coming up versus that 30 minutes of coffee, which is, and for all you smart guys out there, and most of my guys are smart guys, that's just neither efficient nor effective to do that. It's a poor use of your time, and you're only going to get their manufactured, avatar response of what they want to say. But what I talked about in my post is, takes away all the mystery. Then there's nothing to talk about. If you go over everything, what's the fun? And Marni, will you speak on the power, the female power of imagination, and how we rob you of thinking about, I almost call it sometimes call it mentally masturbating, thinking about the date that we're going to have, and how we ruin that and strip that from you when we lay out every single thing about us and take away the mystery, and then over text you, what that does to hurt our chances for the date.
Well, the thing is, so most people they're living active lives, and so they may or may not be able to answer you all the time, right? Number one. So number two is then they feel guilty, or they might be irritated or annoyed, to have their phone off and be working for 4 hours and then go grab their lunch and be like, whoa, I have 7 messages from Jeff. They're like, that's a lot. It's overwhelming. Number one. Number two is, I always tell my clients to be honest and say, like, Jeff, I love that you were thinking of me of work. Just so you know, I really don't I just don't have the bandwidth to answer. So I just don't want you to think I was ignoring you. And you know what? Let's save it for our date on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right? Like setting that boundary, and the guy knows, like, oh. And I had a client once say this to a guy, and he wrote back and he was like, thank you for telling me. He's like, I saw this, I haven't dated for like 20 years. I saw a blog that said women like good communication. And so I didn't know that I was like over communicating. And so it's, you want to.
Isn't that true?
Look,
that's wild. It's true. And you do want us to communicate once you got to know us, but it is, and this is, I get a lot of shit for this.
Twice even, like,
yeah,
hey, I hope you had a great day at work. I can't wait till Thursday. Or on Thursday morning, hey, just confirming we have a date on Thursday. Like, I'll be the guy wearing the red shirt. Can't wait. Informational, friendly, and sparsely, so that we're like actually able to talk in person.
That's what, that's interesting. It circles back to what we said. We started off talking about the power of, scarcity and sparsely versus just puking ourselves all over you every day. hey, Marni, what you working on? What you doing? What you doing? You're like, husband, beautiful man, whoever it is, get away from me. Give me some space. Go do your own thing. It sends across, but it's ironic. And we don't need to get into this, but I know growing up surrounded by females, I was always trained to do exactly what you said. Hey, women love constant. Let us know where you're at. Don't be a jerk and disappear and all that. So a lot of us good guys, and I'm a good guy. You know that. Even when I was being a bad boy, I was still a good guy who was just trying to figure out, well, I want what all the bad boys have.
Right.
How do they get? I'm tired of being that nice guy that gets overlooked. And yeah, it's a huge disservice to us when we signal, and it's not true, but we signal that that we're not that valuable because it shows that we have nothing really going on in our lives. It suggests that we do if we're constantly texting you, and especially if it's not that interesting. So yeah, guys, give a chance to marinate, let her think about it, let her imagine. She'll reach out to when she wants to, but don't just keep pegging her with ping pong balls. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's like, it's a lot. And so, save it for the date. Have a real connection instead of trying to build a fake one.
Yes. What would you say to men when it comes with regards to vulnerability? When is too much? When is it appropriate? What does it look like? Because that's the V word is such a nasty word to so many guys, and they get scared and they or they do it too much, and it turns into a fire hydrant, or sometimes it's a sprinkler, and they just they're a mask, and the girl goes, "Whoa, that is scary." What are your thoughts on? These are all early, when you're getting to know somebody, not later down there. We call it first date, second date. What do you think?
I think you want to first of all, you want to understand that if nobody takes the lead on the vulnerability, then nobody will be vulnerable, and then there will be no connection, and the date will be very boring and dry. And so like energy attracts like energy. You're making it safe, right? By saying something vulnerable. I think on a first or second date, you don't need to tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Right? Back when I was in my 20s and 30s, I dated a lot because I was trying to figure myself out. And I learned that, I was trying to overcome some insecurities. And now I feel like I'm making better connections because I'm just being myself. I feel confident in who I am, or whatever it is. You don't need to be like, so then I went to therapy, and then I got married, and then I had this thing with my ex-wife, and she tried to take all my kids away from me, and then and then I lost my job, and then I went there, but then I did that, and I found this, then I went to this men's thing, like, wow, So I think it's like a sound bite, and then here's the thing that I think men need to know is then you go, what about you? I think so many women are be like, the guys just never ask me questions, and I think when both sides are nervous, because then I've heard men say women just talk all the time. So I think when both sides are nervous, it's like a good media interview. You want to say something. Yeah. You want to do a soundbite. You want to then ping pong it back. Like when we were watching Love on the Spectrum, let's talk about a reality show. Remember there was an episode where they had a dating coach come in for these neurodiverse kids. And they demonstrated it by using the analogy of rolling a ball back and forth.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, I'm going to speak. Now you speak. And I think that when we get nervous, we forget to ask questions. And that goes both ways. So vulnerability, soundbite, ask a question, right? And make sure that you're aware enough. Like you can observe your date as if you were in the audience being like, oh, it's time for someone else to speak now.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's also worth pointing out is oftentimes we do this as men when we are so wanting you to accept us and to like us. We just want to sell and sell and sell ourselves. Yeah. And one thing that is you mentioned years ago is we all have our traumas, we all have our past, we all have things that we've, speaking of vulnerability, things that we are hesitant to share, but it is our truth. And one of the best things I ever heard you share is to turn it into a hero's journey, a short hero's journey, by the way. This isn't a whole 2-hour epic, gladiator movie, but make it nice and short. So if you did have, maybe Crohn's disease, or you lost somebody special to your life, to mention it so that they're not, really shocked by it and like, oh, this guy's, if you don't share it and don't let them know, they're going to learn it, eventually, right? But to really package it up in the way that in a story, and now I love what you said, and now that, now that I went through that, now I learned, and it taught me these following lessons that made me and ultimately a stronger man. And I think it's so powerful to turn these hardships, these challenges, these traumas into short little soundbite takeaways, so you can let your potential partner know, hey, this dude knows how to take adverse life curveballs and turn them into home runs.
Yeah, I think so I'm watching I am watching Love is Blind. I admit it. I said I wouldn't after UK, but I am. But there was a guy who said, and I don't think he would say this like on a first date, but maybe a second or a third. He was like, just so you know, in full they were talking about past relationships, and he said, just so you know, in full transparency, I cheated in my past relationship. And it was the dumbest thing I ever did. And we went to counseling after, and that relationship didn't work, but it was the wake up call I needed to really figure out why I was doing that. And it was, set me on this path of becoming the better person. Period. The end.
Right.
Right. Versus saying it like, a year down or 9 months in, and this one was like, you hid that from me. So
yeah, it's
like little bite size. I love that you have that framework of the like just a mini hero's journey.
Yeah. My friend Emmett, as you know, I just got done hanging out with him, and
worst date I ever went on in my whole life.
You're not that great. Sorry.
Thanks, Emmett.
They can't all be winners, but
that was what I just have to say. When I was single, and single people will relate to this, literally people would be like, oh, you're alive, he's alive, you guys would be great together. I was just getting fixed up with people that I had like literally were not my person, just because we were both single, we're both relatively attractive, we're in like the same town or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he was one of those dates. We were just like, absolutely. But yeah.
Personal growth. You went on it, and now you got a fun story out of it, and it helped you realize things that you don't necessarily want to date a guy who's rose petal bubble bath. And remember, he was taking a bubble bath with roses or something inside there, and you're
but also he told me talking about vulnerability, and I can't remember the whole story, and I think it was him told me, and maybe it wasn't, but some guy went on a date, and he told me about past situations, and he was talking about dating someone in Vegas, maybe found out she was a stripper, was like giving her money. It was like a whole story about like wanting to help this person. But it was just like, whoa, it like went way deep down, like the rabbit hole of that story. And I was just like, hell to the motherfucking no. And I can't remember honestly if it was him, but
it was.
That's bad vulnerability. Like that's like not healthy and not helpful, and it just made me want to like get my Nikes on and head for the door.
100%. Yeah, and to kind of wrap up that thought, and we'll tie this up. What that dude didn't do, and it wasn't my friend. What that dude didn't do, guys, is he didn't do the button down. So he mentioned, he had this crazy, stressful situation, and he left it open. And so Marni's brain is like, you haven't figured your crap out yet, dude. And this isn't a beautiful ending off into the sunset. You're still in that, and I don't want to sign up for that. Just so you know, guys, women, and men and humans, but especially gals, if you don't finish the story for them, dude, they're gonna write the ending, and it's probably not gonna be. It's gonna be a wildly interesting ending. It's gonna be entertaining, and it's gonna be scary. So you need to absolutely get crystal clear on what it was you overcame, and what you learned from it, and how you're letting them know, hey, and most importantly, the subtext is, and it's not your problem. It's not a problem anymore. Not a problem for me, and it's definitely not going to be your problem, because if you don't,
I love that. I love that so much. That's so great.
Oh my God. Well, I'm really, really glad to have us back here. What would you say is a kind of sum it up or a practical tool for people to take away from our chat today?
Well, the name of the show is Life Check Yourself. So my suggestion is to really think through how you want to message things that you feel like were growth points in your life, but you maybe even feel uncomfortable or embarrassed or ashamed. So like, for example, someone who is 50 and has never been married, right? Or 40 or whatever it is. And they're like, oh, people think I'm a blah. There's something wrong with me. Like, how are you going to message that? That's in a way that's authentic. Like, in my 20s and 30s, I was really focused on my career. And then I just moved up the corporate ladder and I was involved in taking care of like my ailing parents. And I moved, and really honestly, love wasn't my jam right then. But now I feel like I'm in a place where I'm just so ready and excited to share my life with someone, right? Like it's like a resume thing where you have a big gap and you need to figure out how you're going to share about what you did during that gap. So I would say like go through some of those pivotal moments that are your vulnerability shares that are appropriate, and think about how can you do the hero's journey version of them, because I think that's an important way to feel confident, not because you're trying to bullshit someone, but like if it's true and it makes sense for you and you can say it in a way that you feel good about it and you're like, that is it. Then it's going to help you to write that ending for the person.
I love it. That's amazing. My biggest takeaway was, and it seemed to be our recurring theme, is the power of being in purpose and being healthfully scarce. So in using the apps as just a quick tool to get the heck off the app ASAP. Don't go and write your own biopic, or is it biopic, about yourself and who you are, so that it takes away all of the mystery. Get on there and get the hell off as fast as you can, and then meet in real life, because that's when the truth, and that's where the true chemistry actually can create. And most likely, if you keep on writing, Marni, I think we're eventually going to say something that's going to be a loose end, and the female brain is going to write a scary ending and maybe come up for a reason to cancel the date on us.
Love it. Great advice from Consultant Chris. Follow him on Instagram, Consultant Chris.
That's right, at Consultant Chris. Instagram, I'm on Facebook as well. And thank you guys for joining us. Next up, next week, or when we do our next podcast, I've got some really, really interesting, mind-blowing, frustrating stats, Marni, that you are going to be like, holy moly, I'm so glad I wasn't born with a pair of balls, because it is not the time to be on dating apps, especially, and you're going to see the number of people there, and you're going to be thankful. And maybe, you know what? I bet you're going to have some compassionate takeaways to share with your ladies. Which, by the way, Marni's got amazing gals too. So single guys out there, maybe we'll link y'all up.
Matchmaker. All right, ladies. If you loved this episode, subscribe, share it with your friends, give us a like, follow us. I'm at Marni Battista _ on Instagram. Chris is at Consultants Chris. Send us your questions in the DM so we can feature the question on the show. You can check out my new website, marnibattista.com, for all the latest and greatest. And whatever you do, you know what? Don't blame men. Don't blame the world. It's your responsibility. So you know what? Damn life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks for tuning into today's show. Do you ever wake up feeling like you've already run a marathon before the day even begins? Does your coffee need a coffee just to get through the morning? Well, I feel you, and I've been there. Burnout isn't just a buzzword. It's a reality for far too many of us, especially as we navigate life over 40. But here's the good news. You don't have to accept feeling perpetually drained as your new normal. I'm excited to introduce my new flagship Live Life on Your Terms program. This isn't just another Band-Aid fix or a fluffy self-care promise. This is about real transformation. We're diving deep to tackle the root cause of your burnout, regulate your nervous system, lower your cortisol and adrenaline, and rewire your neural pathways to transform how you feel in your life from the inside out. Imagine this: waking up energized, not by caffeine, but by excitement and passion for the day ahead. Picture yourself managing stress with grace and finding joy in moments big and small. That's not just a dream or a someday. It's within your reach now. So, if you like what you've heard and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working together, here's what I want you to do next. Email me at vip@datingwithdignity.com. Don't wait for one day. Make today your day one so we can create your next chapter. I'm Marni, and I'll talk to you soon.